Emergency crews and others have been working around the clock since Sunday, responding to severe conditions caused by a series of storms that dumped layers of snow and icy rain on much of our state. I'm here today to give you an update on those conditions, many of which continue to worsen, particularly in western Kentucky, to talk about our response and to give reassurance to those in the hard-hit areas. First, let me make one thing clear. We are pulling out all the stops, using all of our resources and devoting our entire energy to this emergency. And we will continue to do so until the last home has power, the last road is cleared, and the last family is safe. Simply put, there is nothing else on my mind at the moment. Kentuckians are suffering right now, and it is my duty to alleviate that suffering. Help is being sought from every possible resource. We have called in every available road crew. We have mobilized the National Guard. We have called in FEMA. We are working with every utility in the state. We have activated emergency management teams in every county. We are working with the Red Cross and other private groups. And I have even talked personally with the President of the United States himself. So let there be no doubt that state government is doing everything possible under these circumstances. But the challenges caused by the ice, the snow, and the frigid temperatures are huge, particularly in western and central Kentucky. According to the latest information we have, which I have just received at an emergency operations meeting that we concluded here a few minutes ago, are as follows. There is some good news. Right now, we estimate that there are 545,000 people remaining without power. That number is down from over 700,000 earlier. Hopefully, that trend will continue. Other numbers, though, are worsening. Now about 200,000 customers on 58 water systems are either without water or are operating under a boil water advisory because of problems related to lack of power. By the end of this weekend, we hope to have generators at a majority of the water plants. In the meantime, we are trucking bottled water into every place we know that needs it, so no one should be without drinking water over the weekend. Initially, we had significant telephone and wireless outages, particularly again in western Kentucky. Now about 80% of cell sites in Kentucky are operational, at least that's been reported to us, according to AT&T and other carriers. Some 172 shelters reportedly now house about 6,400 people across the Commonwealth. High waters are blocking roadways in some counties. Fuel is becoming scarce in some areas. And we've had unconfirmed reports of as many as 9 deaths due to the storm. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the families of all of those victims. Let me stress that all of these numbers are estimates. Hard information is in some places difficult to come by because of communications problems and because of receiving sometimes conflicting information from a locality, which understandably happens in frustrating times like these. This situation is also fluid. More problems are developing as waters rise and flood, and as trees break and cause more problems. Overall, as of this afternoon, 86 of Kentucky's 120 counties have declared states of emergency, as has 59 cities. That's up from 68 counties and 36 cities earlier this week. Now, how are we responding? First, our road crews have been working in 105 of Kentucky's 120 counties since Sunday afternoon, many around the clock under adverse conditions. This has been particularly challenging because the snow and ice arrived in waves and at different times in different areas. In most cases, primary roads are passable. Secondary roads continue to be worked on. And I want to thank them for all of their hard work. Many of these folks have been putting in 18-hour days. Second, more than 1,600 National Guard soldiers have now been deployed around the state to help clear roads, remove debris from houses, provide security, and get supplies to shelters, nursing homes, and other facilities. Third, we have state emergency response officials on the ground and working with local officials to coordinate efforts. Over this coming weekend, I personally, as well as the Lieutenant Governor, the First Lady, and other top officials in my administration, will be visiting affected areas to emphasize the need for a strong, quick response and to assess firsthand the conditions on the ground. We will be sending out a media advisory at day's end today detailing those trips tomorrow. I'll also be holding a media briefing tomorrow when we get back from that tour of affected areas. Fourth, we're trying to get out the word on proper procedures related to food storage and other storm-related issues like generator use. They need to be operated, for example, more than 10 feet from a building, not inside the building. We've had about 100 calls relating to carbon monoxide poisoning, including a significant number of people who required treatment at a hospital. I also have unconfirmed reports of several people in that number that I gave you earlier who passed away and died. It was of carbon monoxide poisoning. Fifth, we've worked with Attorney General Jack Conway to trigger the price gouging statutes to protect consumers from unjustified increases in the cost of gasoline, heating, and building supplies and other items. Already, we have had 187 complaints by phone and by email. Sixth, we've put out an appeal for donations of food for agencies to distribute, including coordinating a food drive at this weekend's basketball games at Kentucky's universities. Seventh, and finally, we have worked aggressively within channels to tap federal government resources.